Welcome back, everybody, to Let's Play Metroid Prime for the Nintendo GameCube. It's Prime time! Last time, we made our way out of Phazon Mines to go and grab the grapple beam, and in spite of that, we are still outside of Phazon Mines to go and grab a new upgrade within Magmoor Caverns, but not without grabbing a few more goodies in Chozo Ruins first before doing so, and checking a few things off our list a little bit early on, so that way our endgame collectathon can be a little bit less stressful. So, yeah, might as well do that, I suppose. It'll definitely leave room for pacing the playthrough a little bit better, because, I will admit I am not the best person to come to when it comes to pacing, and it's something I still kind of need to work on a little bit, which is why I've been implementing stuff such as, like, speed up and what have you in my Utopia playthrough, for example. So, yeah, I don't think there is anything we can do right here. I've already gotten some things right here. So, let's check out this room. This room was actually something that we could check out briefly in the early game, but we couldn't quite do anything about it because not only did we not have the Varia suit on hand, we didn't have the grapple beam either. So now that we have both of these things, we can definitely check out this section of the Chozo Ruins. And outside of that one little spot where the Chozo statue was, there's really not much left to check out in Chozo Ruins outside of getting the last few expansions and checking out these rooms here. And with that being said, let's do just that. Because after this, and after we grab our goodies, we'll probably head back to Chozo Ruins one last time to grab said thing. And that'll be it. Like, Chozo Ruins will be done. So let's take our power bombs, blow this up, and what do you have? What do you have there? You got a power bomb expansion. Very, very rare expansion indeed. Only about 5 of those in the game or so. No, not even that. I think there are only 4 power bomb expansions in this game. Extremely rare. And we got some Chozo lore on top of that too. I love how it plays different pickup music for the power bombs for whatever reason. I don't really understand what's up with that. I can't help but feel like the power bombs had to have been like a last minute addition or something. But yeah, with the end of Chozo Ruins in sight, also comes the end of the Chozo lore. And it's basically drawing itself to its conclusion here, based off of the order we've been finding all of these hieroglyphs and what have you. The hatchling, the newborn, walking the path of corruption. So this is kind of interesting. They're kind of skeptical of Samus even after all of this. A lot of uncertainty to be discerned, that's for sure. Alright. But that's not all. Let's check out these next few rooms here. And this looks eerily similar to another room we saw earlier. Of course, can't have another Chozo Ruins room without some Chozo ghosts. I'll be glad when I'm done with this place, because God, I'm so sick of seeing these things. X-ray scope or not, they're still annoying to get rid of, if only really because they're so tanky and they just arbitrarily get in the way, you know? There's no real differentiation from each fight. They just happen to be there for the sake of padding, and it's just, this isn't even really an ideal field to be putting Chozo ghosts in either. I wonder if that was the challenge. Like, put them in the most cramped space possible and see if you can fight the Chozo ghosts here. Is that what came to mind? Oh, man. some people would argue that, like, the dark, the dark elite pirate troopers. I think it's the flying pirates. No. It's the pirate commandos, the dark pirate commandos from Metroid Prime 2. Some people would argue that they're worse than the Chozo Ghosts. I disagree, personally. And I say this because, like, the Chozo Ghosts are only weak to your Power Beam assortment of weapons, including the Power Beam itself and the Super Missiles, which arbitrarily makes them, much more bulky to, like, take care of compared to, like, the Pirate Commandos, where, yeah, they can kind of, like, fly all over the place and cause all sorts of mayhem without a certain visor like the Chozo Ghosts do. But you have much better weapons in your arsenal to take care of them. And I think, in general, like, if you manage your Dark and Light Beam pretty effectively, like, it does more than enough to make up for that fact. Whereas here, I'm, like, awkwardly trying to charge super missiles just to get them out of my way. And it just turns from what would normally be a snooze fest into, well, get the fuck out of my way, please, kind of scenario. Whereas the Chozo Ghosts are just cumbersome no matter what, you know? Like, even with the S-ray scope, I'm still having to burn through 20 of my missiles just to get rid of them, and it's really annoying. Really, really annoying. I thought I activated this. What the heck? Was it like one of those time challenges? Oh my god, it was a time challenge. I'm stupid. Alright. Another energy tank for the taking. And with that, there's only 2 left in the game to go and grab. Sweet. So, yeah, let's get out of here. Thank you very much. Is there really anything else to do here? I don't think there is. No, that was just for display. Okay, that's it. Okay. So it looks like this path here really was just for a bunch of expansions. Ow. Actually, speaking of which, that room that I had mentioned earlier, I did mention in a previous part that this room looked a lot like something that would have an expansion in it, because I mixed it up for something else, and I was about to skip over it again. Like, goddamn. I just feel so fucking ignorant today. Let's see. Oh, you sneaky bastards. This is what I think it is. Oh my god. Oh my god. This was the room. Jesus Christ. So yeah, this, in my honest opinion, is the easiest expansion to miss in the entire game, because it's the only one I can think of where it's in a fucking tunnel area, of all places, that you wouldn't even think twice to scour about in. And to make matters worse, it's literally off the map. Like, you come through here, and you're off the map. Like, it's... Why is this the only expansion where it makes that, singular case in? And on top of that, you can't really scan to get an idea of whether or not this kind of tree looks suspicious. It's literally the one thing you wouldn't even think twice about when it comes to, like, scouring the area about to see if there's an expansion here or not. And I know I've ran into plenty of playthroughs where I've completely forgotten about it, and I was about to do it again, and I just happen to remember that, oh, wait a second, it's behind something that's, obstructing it, isn't it? So, yeah, shoot. Shoot, shooty, shoot, indeed. I'll be right back, just a second. I had to let the dog out of my room real quick, sorry about that. Yeah, I don't really talk about my pets all that much, but I do love animals. I love animals so much. I actually have two dogs, in fact. I have sort of a lab and English bulldog mixed animal. We call it a Heinz 57 where we're from. And then we have a... Oh, what's up with that? Oh, no. Oh, no. Damn it. Oh, God, no. I can't believe I missed that. Ah, that hurts. That really, really hurts. Alright, I'm back. I do love how this kind of acts as a safeguard for getting out of the Morph Ball tunnel in case you accidentally boost out and end up, like, ricocheting off the wall here. Which I can imagine something like that being very, very possible. But yeah, I didn't even seem to think twice about the fact that maybe this could have led to the end of something. But yeah, that whole route there was simply for a bunch of goodies, and it was definitely worth it, I'd say. Anything for a couple of expansions, I would say, is worth it in the long run. So yeah, that really doesn't leave much else to do in Chozo Ruins besides coming back to this one area. I happen to come by here a lot, it feels like. It's just how it feels, I guess. Man, they got Chozo Ghosts in here too. Christ. Next thing you'll know, they'll have Chozo Ghosts just sitting in my bathroom, waiting to ambush me or something. With the rate this game is going, just throwing them everywhere, like, that's a very big possibility. But yeah, it makes me glad that I'm taking care of a lot of early Chozo artifacts now, instead of waiting until the last minute to do so, because, like, man, if I had to do all the Chozo artifacts at the end game collectathon, then, like, having to deal with, like, this whole big Chozo Ghost onslaught of bullshit and what have you would just be all the more painstakingly, like, time consuming, you know? But yeah, gotta have the gravity suit to come and get this one. But yeah, that's the really good thing about the endgame collectathon. I guess I'll go ahead and talk about it now since I've already, you know, almost hit the halfway point. So after you get all of the upgrades in the game basically necessitates that you go and collect all of the Chozo artifacts. And there are indeed a few others that we can't quite get until we obtain the last upgrade in the game, which is given to us after beating the main boss of Phazon Mines. So we'll have to hold off on those for a little bit. But the nice thing here is that Metroid Prime 1 is designed in a way where if you know what you're doing, you can get over half of the Chozo artifacts without having to have all of the upgrades on hand, which is what most people normally end up doing on their first playthrough of Metroid Prime. And it is something I will admit uh, as a positive over Metroid Prime 2, because the reality of the situation is that in Metroid Prime 2, that game also has an end game collectathon. In fact, every Metroid Prime game has an end game collectathon. Now that I think about it, and Metroid Prime 2 is strictly designed in such a rigorous way in the sense that you can only really maybe go out of your way for like one or two collectible MacGuffins before having to wait until the very end of the game to get the others. And some people don't quite like that, I'd say. And I definitely, you know, resonate with those complaints to some degree. I think they're pretty valid for the most part. I don't mind it personally, and the reason for that is mostly because of the fact that, like, you're going to end up coming back to these areas to get expansions anyway. I mean, for the sake of speedrunning, yeah, this is technically considered inferior to the first Metroid Prime game, but, you know, Metroid Prime 1 has incidents of backtracking that could be considered worse than its sequel. But Metroid Prime 1 definitely handles the endgame collectathon a lot better. than Prime 2. But anyway, getting back to my point, you're gonna have to end up revisiting these areas anyway if you're wanting to get all of the expansions. And the game basically encourages that you get the expansions because unlike other Metroid games where if you get all of the expansions you just get a nice little picture at the end of the game, at the end of the credits and what have you, um, the reward for getting all of the expansions actually gives you an alternate ending for each game, and it necessitates that you get every expansion in order to do so, um, Prime 3 included. And what this means for us is that if we want to get the best ending, well, we're gonna have to sucker up and do it. And you know, most speedrun categories typically run like the 100% anyway. So in a way, I guess there's like both sides of the coin you have to consider for, and I don't think like in any way, shape, or form it feels like a complete and total negative for every single side. You know, I'm trying to figure out a faster way to get to. Oh my god, to Magmoor Caverns. Oh god. That's where we need to head next. And it's that kind of thing where it's objective, but it's also entirely subjective, you know. So anyways, going back to my dogs, I own a Heinz 57 and a Great Dane, and the Great Dane in particular, our Great Dane's name is Baloo, and man, I am forgetting my way through Chozo Ruins already. What the crap, man? Like, we're hitting endgame here, Ken. What the hell? And he has so much personality. My family has always wanted a Great Dane. Like, even like back when we've had different dogs, like we've had, you know, golden retrievers and labs, the whole 9 yards basically. I mean, well, we never owned a bulldog, so to speak. But anyway, this guy is so full of character. I don't think I've ever had a dog I've fallen in love with as much as my Dane. They're basically the equivalent of like a gentle giant, and I guess people can kind of, relate to that on some kind of degree. But yeah, he is like the kind of guy who's all bark, but not really much bite. I've seen him terrorize and scare off a lot of people. He's a very scary looking dog. It's a black colored Dane, mind you. So like, it's the appearance and like the behavior of like how he looks whenever he's barking at like, you know, strangers that gives off the presence that this could be a threatening dog. But he really is the biggest sweetheart, and the best part about him is that he has a cat-like behavior and tendency to just cuddle up with you. I've had plenty of moments where he's just sat and snuggled with me on the couch, and he is the kind of guy who loves attention. I can't even really give much attention to my Heinz 57 because every single time I try and, you know, give him love, he's always like, nope, 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 I'm gonna come back and steal your attention. And yes, I am more of a dog than a cat person, if anybody in the comments asks. Thank you very much. But yeah, I love my dogs. I love them very much, and I feel like in the future I would definitely own a dog over a cat. And I'm not saying I hate cats by any means, but I also haven't had the most pleasant experiences around them either. And I don't know. I feel like a lot of like what people prefer out of an animal really greatly depends on the fact that did they grow up around the right kind of cats, you know? And like the cats I've owned haven't really been the friendliest at our disposition either. And I know dogs definitely have a behavior pattern where it really boils down to how you raise them. With cats, it's like they just do. It's really just the genes, you know? And I guess we just haven't had the best luck in terms of having a super amazing cat, you know? Chozo artifact. Anywho, where the hell was I? Alright, so Magmoor Caverns. We found another Chozo artifact. The artifact of nature. Sweet Delio. And, alright. So that leaves us with a ton of backtracking. Oh my god. We got a good ways to go, and with a whole lot of nothing in between. That is Magmoor Caverns for you, buddy. I might actually start doing some jump cutting here in a bit, so... Well, either that or just speeding up the footage as a whole. Whatever comes first. Alright, so... Oh my god, what? That was the wackiest knockback I've ever sustained in this game. What the hell was up with that? Oh man, how am I getting lucky with all of these power bomb drops? Oh, did it just disappear without any animation behind it? What the hell was up with that? Alright, so I guess I'll stop here for a second, because there was one room that we went into earlier to grab an expansion. Not really an expansion, but we got a Chozo artifact out of it. So what I'm going to end up doing here is going back to said room with our newly acquired power bomb, and we're gonna blow open a thing of Bendizium that we couldn't get into earlier and grab ourselves another expansion. Bork, 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 bork. Alright, here we are. It's gonna drop me? Oh, thank goodness. Okay. Another power bomb expansion. Let's go. And... oh, wow. Perfect timing. Let's go. Alright, so this is the other room I mentioned earlier that has another upgrade that we can get that wasn't quite displayed on our objective markers, and surprise, surprise, it's not something that's super duper important, but it is another charge combo. So yeah, one of the only two upgrades we can find in Magmoor Caverns, but this one isn't quite as necessary as the other one. This here is the Ice Spreader. The Ice Spreader is, it's alright. So this one uses a little bit more in the way of missiles than the super missiles do. And, let's try it out, actually. So, this one uses the Ice Beam. Duh. Otherwise, it wouldn't be called the Ice Spreader. Gosh. And this here is a little bit weaker than the super missiles, although not by much. But its trait is that it's more so used for crowd control. And I don't think something like that happens too often in the game, and when it does, it's usually with enemies I can't even use my Ice Beam on in the first place. I would mostly use it if you happen to run into a bunch of space pirates all at once, and you can just freeze them all at the same time and, you know, call it a day. Otherwise, like, usually just using the Ice Beam by itself is more than enough to handle, you know, opponents, because just a singular ice shot like that does the trick. Need Ice Say more. Oh my god. That's a missile I forgot to get. Oh god. Oh, Jesus Christ. I am just missing everything, aren't I? Speaking of which, I was about to say, I cannot be forgetting any more shit. God damn. This was something I was meant to get earlier on in the game. I don't know why I didn't get it just now. Or, you know, back then, you know? I'm glad I spotted that. I think there was one point in the playthrough, I mean, this probably happened in part 12 when I was going back through Magmoor Caverns for stuff that I missed. And this had to have been one of the things I ended up forgetting and didn't bother addressing. And I can't believe I forgot all about it. But yeah, in case you didn't know, the ice beam can freeze these things and make navigating through them a lot more efficient and faster than usual. Efficient and quicker than usual. I don't know. What would be the grammatical term to be using for such a thing? For such said thing. Oh my god, my grammar is so fucking bad today. What is wrong with me? Oh, never unless. Okay, that was intentional. We're gonna be heading towards this next room here to grab our upgrade, of which we have been seeking. Did I blow this up? I love how they actually created little grapple slots here to make getting through these chambers a little bit faster. It's a good little shortcut tool, that's for certain. Yeah, nothing else to do there. Alright, so here we are. Well, not quite yet. Come on, Ken. Use your head a little bit. Okay, so this room right here was a room we couldn't do much in besides pass through it. But now that we have all of the upgrades at our arsenal that we need, we can go ahead and get to work. So, basically what we need to start doing is heading on top of one of these structures. Here we are. Here's our progression barrier block. Figures. Okay, no, this one's a... Need the boost ball for that. Okay. Oh, okay. I thought I couldn't jump on top of that for a second. What the hell? Oh, boy. So what do we have going on here? Oh, man, I did not mean to do that. Okay, so this here is a boost ball puzzle. We gotta adjust these platforms accordingly if we're gonna make our way to the top. And what's up with this? Alright. Now this is quite the pickle. Alright, so it looks like we're gonna have to potentially move this up a little bit. Where are you at? Or did I already? Oh my god, I already lifted it up. Dude. I know one of these things was something I didn't lift up just yet. Okay. There we are. Okay. So that wasn't nearly as complex as I thought it would be. Huh. Yeah, for real. I thought this would be a lot more complex. What the hell? I spoke a little too soon. Okay. I think these critters are... No, these are depleted parasites from earlier. The ones we found in Chozo Ruins. I guess that one specific room and the other room, this one being it, are the only places you can find plated parasites. It's interesting. Better jot that down in your notes, gentlemen! Okay. That was weird. Very weird. I thought I was actually trying to hold the R button so I can land on that. I don't know why it didn't let me do that. Unless I was actually meant to land on the platform sitting in front of it, which, you know what, that's probably the case, so I should probably shut up right now. Oh boy. God, this is turning into fucking Utopia all over again when I'm just getting all of my fags mixed up again. Oh, but you can't pop out a morph ball here. Huh. That's interesting. Oh, Jesus Christ! That was definitely a think fast moment. Holy crap. Now, I like how they actually kind of turned this into a bit of a complex, like, spider ball puzzle. Not nearly as complex as the other ones in, like, you know, Prime 2 and onwards, but this one definitely shows that they're taking evolutionary leaps and making these puzzles with the spider ball a little bit more engaging than, oh, take this magnetic rail and go from point A to point B kind of thing, you know? In fact, why are we doing this? I could just bomb my way up. I like it when, like, I love it when video games take something that's really simple on paper and create this, like, completely interesting and complex puzzle setup out of it. I absolutely adore when video games do this. Kind of reminds me of the spinner from Twilight Princess. You know, as much shit as the spinner gets in Twilight Princess, the few puzzles it did have in that game, you can't deny that the shit that it had going behind it and the situations you used it for were all pretty damn clever and well executed. You know? Sometimes it's not about like how much you use an item in the game, though sometimes that can be the case, but if the execution of how the item turns out being is used pretty damn well in the grand scheme of things, and where you can definitely develop complex puzzle situations out of it, then I'd say at the very least it gets a pass. But yeah, here we are, Plasma Beam. The best beam in the entire game. I did mention that the Ice Beam was technically my favorite, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's the best beam. This beam, it is so broken. There's absolute no reason there's literally no reason whatsoever that's, you know, given to the player out of anything in the entire game that you should ever use any other beam besides the plasma beam over anything else. This more or less effectively replaces the power beam, because while its rate of fire isn't quite as fast as the power beam, its blast radius is really good, and it's got the second fastest rate of fire in the game. And on top of that, if we're not accounting for the fact that the ice beam usually freezes opponents on impact, depending on how resilient the opponent is to the ice beam, this is definitely the most powerful beam in the game. And its charge shot isn't too far behind the super missile in terms of power either. And it becomes a pretty decent super missile replacement, if I had to say so myself. Because in all honesty, like, yeah, the super missile is technically stronger, but you can get out more charged plasma shots and, put on more damage than you can setting up super missiles, because super missiles, even once you finish charging a power beam, they take longer to wind up and, effectively use to kill your opponent. So overall, yeah, the plasma beam is pretty goddamn broken, and the only thing that the plasma beam has going against it that the other beams have in its favor is the fact that its charge beam combo kind of sucks, if I had to be honest. Um, it's not very good. It's pretty bad. It's not the worst charge combo in the entire series. That goes to the Sunburst from Metroid Prime 2, because I actually cannot legitimately think of a single reason you would ever use Sunburst in Prime 2. Whereas in this game, like with the Plasma Beam, I can maybe think of some situations you can use, the Charge Beam combo for, in terms of where you could effectively use the Plasma Beam for and, put on more damage. But otherwise, like, I think the charge shots are enough. This beam is pretty ridiculous, and like, I do have more fun using. I do have more fun using the ice beam for certain. Like, I won't lie, I like the ice beam a lot more because it's a lot more fun, playing around with a much slower beam and getting, you know, much more rewarding scenarios out of it. I mean, yeah, the ice beam is a lot riskier to use, and its reward isn't too far behind the plasma beams. But like, I've always liked the idea of a high risk, high reward kind of weapon. And the ice beam just delivers on that in spades. And I feel like the plasma beam just has so much going for it that it sometimes just straight up becomes unfun to use it too much. So anyway, next time on Let's Play Metroid Prime for the Nintendo GameCube. I was about to say 2. Oh my god. Uh, we're gonna actually go back to Fendrana Drifts and do a little bit of scouting about before we head over to the next area. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys then.